All right. Hey, good evening. Welcome to Straight Up. It's 9 o'clock. You know, we don't hesitate with our time. We have a lot of respect for you, the viewers and the listeners, and those of you who are listening to us via 107.1 FM on the ground. It's Friday. It's the 5th day of November, 2020. So it's 9 o'clock in Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock in Guyana. You know, they'll be changing the time soon. So we'd want to accommodate in terms of those who are listening to us in the UK as well. We don't want you guys to go to bed really late, right? So in the daylight changing time, because when they do change our time, is that those in the US go back 1 hour, especially those on the East Coast, right? Well, all over, but I'm talking about Eastern Standard Time. And then the Eastern Standard Time will be 1 hour, I believe, ahead of Guyana time. So they'll be. We'll talk to our operator. We'll talk to our executive producer about the time change indeed to facilitate and accommodate you guys. Make sure everyone is comfortable. Everyone is happy. We'll be right back. Tonight it's your night, and we deal with serious issue. Sorry, Mister. Irfan Ali, kind of like I thought for a moment I wasn't able to pronounce serious issue right here on 107.1 FM. Do share the link and let people know that we're on live and direct. We'll be right back.
Pulling on. I feeling, 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 I feeling.
If you are looking to have your statutory declaration, affidavit of income, identity, damage or lost passport, lost license, tenancy agreement, agreement of settlement, power of attorney, last will and testament, and certification of documents, then you need to visit the Alistair Collins firm, located at the Killian Mall, 162 Lamaha Street, in Georgetown, between Camp and Waterloo Street. Alistair Collins is a commissioner of oaths and a justice of the peace. Make certain you visit him or call for more information at 649-6410 or 685-6448 or 503-1451. And there's adequate parking available. Go down to the Alistair Collins firm and have all of your legal issues settled and brought to the fore. Alistair Collins Firm. Contact them at Alistair Collins Firm.
All right. Hey, guess what? Good evening. Let's get ready to rock and roll right away, right off the bat. I'm one of those batsmen, right? Political batsmen, that is. I'm not talking about the regular cricket, because if I had taken up cricket, that particular sport, something I used to love, I tell you what, because I haven't watched that game in probably a long time. So I don't even know who some of the current players are, except maybe a Chris Gale. But outside of that, Chris Gale, I heard he has been making 12 and 6 and 7 runs and all these things. Look, batsmen are not like that. They're not going to be making centuries all the time. And we as Caribbean, West Indian, so to speak, as you know where Guyana is, but we are all part of the Caribbean and the West Indian culture, not geographically, right? We have this tendency to just basically, toss people aside, just put them aside. That's it, because they're not doing the things that they used to do before. You know what I mean? And we see this not only in sports, but we also see it in politics. The same thing happened to Brian Lara when Brian Lara couldn't perform as well as he used to. We see it with the cricketers all over the world. And back in the old days when cricket was cricket. I hope, look, speaking of cricket, Lemon is not starting off properly. He's not removing this village voice that we have. And these are promos that we have pushing the businesses, right? Today happens to be Friday. This weekend, that is Sunday, the Village Voice newspaper will be out. Please, you guys should see my begging face. And when I say begging face, I don't mean begging in that sense. I didn't put anything else up other than this here, right? And the businesses that we promote on 107.1 FM, we urge you to go out and support those businesses, right? Village Voice is one of them. This Sunday, pick up your copy. Go out at Andrew's Supermarket. Go somewhere. Pick up a copy of the Village Voice. It's your money well spent, and it is worth it. Okay? Spend your money right where people appreciate you, and not only appreciate you, where people respect you. The Village Voice newspaper. Welcome to Straight Up Again. Thank you so much for sharing the link. We're going to be talking for just an hour because it's Friday, and I want to go out by somewhere. I'm not under quarantine. Otherwise, I would have gone to Philippi, Cromarty, or those area, Kilmarnock, Maida, Bushlat, Kildonan, and hang out with some of the, I don't want to say hang out with some of the boys because, all right, sorry. Or maybe I probably would have had to Alnis, pick up J.R. Crawford, a couple of the other guys, the Grays and Hardawar, Harry Dat, and all those folks there, and take a nice, cool, cold Macusson. I can do with that right now. I just love a Macusson. But if you ask me when was the last time I had a Mackerson, I'll be lying. I just don't. I just don't any longer. Now that I'm getting a little old in life, I'm watching everything that I do now. Everything that I do now. Okay, you little some naughty people out there, but good evening and welcome. We have some things we want to talk with you guys about. I was hoping to let me say something. Let me address this guy right away, right off the bat, man. Tonight is addressed in you guys. Tonight we will be talking to each other. I want to talk to you as well. I want to include you guys. As my friends would say, and the operator who seem to be taking up some Latin courses now, talking about vox populi, because in Latin it simply means the voice of the people. So let me hit at this guy first, Conrad August. His eyes pass all of us, and when I'm finished with him, I want you guys to go after him as well. Go after him tonight, Conrad August. But before I get to Conrad August, I see there's a let me see here. Princess Prince, Wellington Park. How can I forget Wellington Park? How can I forget Tarlogy? How can I forget number 35 Village? Number 35 Village, Brighton, Epsom, Evesham, and Tarlogy, all those places, man. How can I forget you guys? We're all one. Remember this? We're all one. A lot of you don't know this, especially from the quarantine and especially that area. That when I was a little boy, very, very long time ago, gosh, I can't believe I'm saying that now, right? I attended the number 35 Kingdom Hall. Yes, Jehovah's Witness. Surprise a lot of you guys, right? That the Kingdom Hall actually tolerated somebody like me when I was a little boy. But yes, I attended almost all of the Kingdom Halls, and especially that one there at number 35 Village on the quarantine. So hello to all of you, every single one of you. And the people in Georgetown, I kind of like, a lot of people didn't know that I didn't really know my way around Georgetown that much, but that's another story. Good evening to all of you. And yes, Wellington Park, the folks from Wellington Park, good evening to all of them. Wellington Park, it's not in New Zealand or wherever. It's on the quarantine. There's a little village called Wellington Park, and I did attend also Wellington Park Primary School. So, and the folks are really nice people there in that small village, Wellington Park. Speaking of Jehovah's Witness, this guy, Sean Pike, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I don't think he was a Jehovah's Witness. I was a little boy, like I said, and I had to walk around distributing Watchtower magazines and so forth. It was fun for me because I got an opportunity to read and impress the people whenever we knock on doors. But one of the things that I was basically interested in the most was when people offered food, offer a roti, offer a little cook-up, offer plantain chips, and I refused absolutely nothing. I repeat, I refused absolutely nothing. And I'm not one of them who is ashamed when people call nicknames and people's nicknames and so forth. I'm not ashamed of that. My nickname on the quarantine, Philippi and Alice and those places was actually Double Belly. They used to call me Double Belly. Here I am, Double Belly, right? So let's get back to this guy here for a quick moment. Sean Pike celebrated his birthday in jail in Russia. And Jehovah's Witnesses don't do a lot of things. They don't celebrate birth anniversary and these sort of things. But on the 29th of October, that was the same day that my older boy Ryan celebrated his birthday. Sean Pike also celebrated his birth anniversary on that very day. And Sean Pike is still in prison there in Moscow, not because he robbed anybody or whatever. Errol Pratt, good evening to you, bro. Right? So it's not like he robbed anybody. He's just a Jehovah's Witness. Right? He is just, I'm pulling my face so you can see it because our operator just keep making the same mistake. Maybe we should just fire Lemon and put Conrad August to do some work finally. We'll get to Conrad August just now. So all because Sean Pike is a Jehovah's Witness. He is in jail right now. He's not going to return to court until January 24th next year. I don't know. He contracted the coronavirus. He beat that, and thankfully he did. He has a young family, and it is so sad. Sad because the regime, the installed regime in Guyana, is quiet about this young man's current situation. You heard from Sam Hines, who happens to be sitting in Washington as Guyana's ambassador. And nothing outside of that. Sam Hines himself doesn't even know what is happening. The installed regime has not mentioned anything about this young man. The opposition, the main opposition, is also quiet about the issue. Many of them who should be talking about this as well, at least write some press release, do something, or just go on some other show and just parrot something to make it appear that you're doing something. But the fact that they haven't, most of them are just interested in the Congress and to be elected and all these different things. I don't know what's going on, but let's continue to pray for this young man, Sean Pike. Yeah, Sean Pike. Guyana, huh? Guyana, indeed. All right. Like I've said, it's your night tonight. Your night. Let me see. Somebody just mentioned a church also in Brighton. Yes, and that racetrack at Brighton as well, and that jockey Ross, and come on, I know the whole crew at Brighton, right? So let's go to TJ Softly. I'm sorry, man. Softly. He's a guy, TJ Softly. This is what TJ Softly is saying. And good evening to you, TJ. Thank you so much for tuning in. Only person bring awareness to Sean Pike's situation. And that's, I don't know why the others are afraid. I'm doing so quite cognizant that, I haven't gone to Russia. I don't know. I haven't gone to Russia, but pretty sure that I can go to Russia now, but that's besides the point. The fact is that Sean Pike is a Guyanese. He's a human being, and any party, any government that is there, anyone that is there, ought to stand up and protect their citizens wherever they are. Unfortunately, Sean Pike is not getting any sort of attention from the installed regime of Guyana. Not at all. They're just not doing anything. And then you have also we haven't heard anything from the shadow minister of foreign affairs. Shadow minister. I don't know. They got shadow minister, shadow this, shadow that. But she has been very silent on the matter as well. And now let's go to this guy, Basil Balgobin. Basil Balgobin. Basil Balgobin is asking why I can't go. Good evening to you, Basil. Why I can't go. You think you want to set me up? You want I go to Russia with Putin, and knowing that I'm saying that it is wrong what they have done to that young man, Sean Pike? You think I stupidity? You think I stupidity? Right? I must go to Russia. I prefer to go to Guyana and see little Putin. That little Putin that they got there in Guyana right now, Barajagdir. You sending me to Russia? You think I stupidity? Balgobin, thanks for watching, man. Good evening to you. Good evening, and thanks for watching. Balgobin is funny. Very, very funny. Balgobin is saying here, Balgobin is saying, I think you can help him. Balgobin. Now, wait for when Balgobin started to get out of hand. I have a strong feeling, not because his name is Balgobin, but I have a strong feeling that Balgobin is going to get himself in some trouble tonight. Just watch for the comments from Balgobin. If I'm wrong, again, not because his name is Balgobin, because I already sense where Balgobin is coming from. Balgobin say, why you can't go? And then Balgobin comes back again and says, I think you can help him. So in other words, Balgobin wants me to go to Russia, right? Balgobin, you're smart. You want me to go to Russia. But y'all keep an eye on Balgobin where he's going to come next. Just watch Balgobin good. It's Friday night. Keep an eye on Balgobin. You're correct, Malcolm Luther. Trenchy. You know, we get this, Trenchy alert. Trenchy alert. But let's give Balgobin a little 2 minutes. Let's not rush Balgobin as yet. We're waiting for the next comment from Balgobin. I put, look, oh gosh, wait a minute. It's Friday night. We hanging. I'm hanging with you. Just pretend as though we taking a little beer, a mobby, or whatever. Look, Balgobin come back again. Balgobin say, you is a powerful man. Balgobin, thank you so much. That's the third comment from Balgobin. Y'all watch out for the fourth comment. Watch out for the fourth comment. I'm waiting. I'm going to sit here. Hold on. Let me pull back in my seat, man. This is Friday night. We're going to have a little fun here tonight. We're going to have a little fun. Hi, Brenda. How are you? Rachel McBean. Rachel, how are you? Mind you, we got some issues I want to talk about. I want to talk about some things, but I'm going to wait for Basil Balgobin. I'm waiting for Basil's next comment. Basil Balgobin. I'm waiting for him. Let's wait for him. We are patient. And whilst you're waiting, share the link, right? Let's wait for Basil. If you see it, if I miss it, just let me know. Roxanne Best, good evening. How are you doing? Balgo, we're waiting on you. Don't let us down. We're feeling it, Balgobin. We're feeling it. And again, not because you're Balgobin, right? We don't play that sort of game here, right? But we're waiting for Balgobin. I have a strong feeling Balgobin going to dig some serious cuss from it. We're waiting on him. Let's move on, man. Let's. Whenever you see Balgobin, let me know. We're watching his next comment. We're watching his next comment. Basil gone? No, he ain't gone. He's right there. He's listening. He's listening. Waiting for Balgobin. We get all night waiting for Balgobin. We're waiting for Balgo. Probably sing a song for Balgobin in the meantime. Balgo, come let we go by nobody, no God, no. There's a chutney song that's actually, so now come let we go by nobody, no God, no. Right? Nobody not gonna know by. I want to sing this song for Balgobin. Call him Short Bago. Bago come let we go by nobody not gonna know. Bago come let we go by nobody. Balgobin probably loves that song. Bago come let we go by nobody not gonna know. Nobody not gonna know by nobody not gonna know. Bago come let we go by nobody not gonna know. All right. Look, let me do what we got to do, man. Waste time with Balgobin tonight. Balgo will come back. So what else is happening? I wanted to touch on this guy. He's probably gone. Another guy. He's not a trench grapple. He's not a trench grapple, right? Conrad August. He's a mischievous little brat, right? He's a friend of mine. He's a mischievous little brat. Bago, he's asking, he said, Ben Shab gets soft. Soft. I don't know what he means by soft. I've never been told that I'm soft, but Conrad seems to think that, let's go back, Balgobin again. Look, Balgobin, I know you can call the Russian president. Oh gosh! Hey, I gotta take a quick break, man. I gotta take a quick break, and all because I want to play something for Balgo, but not what you guys think that I'm gonna play for him. Let me play something for Balgo. Here you go, Balgo.
This ain't a long time. This ain't a long time. This not a before time. This ain't a long time. This ain't a long time. This not a before time. This ain't a long time. This ain't a long time. This not a before time. Long time got some lang loji. Now you got some bongolo. Long time got some lang loji. Now you got some bongolo. This ain't a long time. This ain't a long time. This not a before time.
All right, let's move on now. Balgobin just got his 15 minutes. In fact, he got like 12 minutes of fame, right? Uh, 12 minutes of fame. Adebayo. Balgo now is a big guy, right? He's well known. Let's go. Time to move on, right? What else we can talk about? But Conrad August, yeah, we know Conrad. Those of us who know Conrad know that he's a little brat, political brat. He means well, though. I at one point, every time Conrad was in Guyana, he stayed at the Sleep-In Hotel, and all of you guys know about that hotel. But yet, Conrad and those other guys who claim to be part of the struggle, they go and they spend their money at those places. Conrad, no, I'm not soft. I haven't gotten soft at all, not at all. So let's move on now. What's happening? I read somewhere where the installed regime, they want electoral reform, right? And part of it is that the chief elections officer, and I know that they are targeting Mr. Keith Lowenfield. They have already persecuted that man. So they want to talk, or they're talking about electoral reform, and they're talking about life sentence and $10 million fine for the chief elections officer once caught rigging, right? A lifetime in jail? Who the hell are these people? A lifetime in jail, $10 million fine? And once they get to this reform, they are going to try to squeeze Mr. Lowenfield in it. We should not sit by and allow it to happen. Here is where the opposition come in again. I haven't seen anything from the opposition leader, my friend, Joseph Harmon, on this particular issue. They should have already had a press conference. They should have already had a press release out on this particular issue. But I don't know. So my take on it is, if they're talking about jailing the chief elections officer, then they should go back when this guy was chief elections officer also, and it should be retroactive. Go back and find a way to investigate and charge him for what happened in the 2006 elections, when he illegally awarded this guy, Sam Hines, a seat in Region 10. And Sam Hines didn't win that seat. And this guy, who was the CEO, knew that Sam Hines didn't win the seat. And Sam Hines was squatting in a seat for 5 years, claiming to be representing the people of Region 10. Stole the seat. Elections fraud. That is what it was. So if they're talking about wanting to jail and wanting to fine Mr. Lowenfield, because like I've said, that's precisely what it's about. We should not allow it to happen unless they are going to be sending this guy to jail. Not only for the 2006 elections, questionable elections, mind you. And now I have his photograph here. This is not to say that it has been proven in court that he has committed a crime. But based on the tabulation and the miscalculation, which obviously come across as a deliberate act, mind you. Some people, their views are basically that it was a deliberate act to steal the seat from Region 10 and hand it to Sam Hines, who didn't win that seat at all. Now, Sam Hines now doesn't believe, because of what Gokul Buru allegedly did concerning that seat, and not only that seat, also the controversy surrounding the 2011 elections, where Gokul Buru again tabulated, miscalculated again. Some people are of the view that it was deliberate, where he gave the Donald Ramotar, who was the then presidential candidate, he gave him a majority, that he won by a majority, when in fact Donald Ramotar won a minority government. He had to form a minority government. There was no majority. And this guy, Gokul Buru, his name was calling. And so he had to quickly, because it was caught. He was caught, so to speak. Now, this guy, Sam Hines, doesn't want Gokul, or doesn't feel that Gokul Buru is the right guy to apply for the same job that he made a mess of at the Guyana Elections Commission. So they're at war. They're at war. So this guy now, Gokul Budu, withdrew. He's no longer a candidate, which is a good thing. So tonight's award gonna go between these two guys. These two guys. Look at them carefully. These two guys. Let me see if any of you know what the award is. They will get an award tonight. Both of them. They are going to share it. They're going to share this award tonight. They are going to share this award tonight. Let me see if you guys know what this award is. Seriously, let me see if you guys know what this award is. They will share the award tonight. Let's get the award going. Lemon, let's get the award going, please. Appreciate it. The award is to be shared between Gokul Budu and Sam Hines. Yes, they got the award. They shared the award. They are unable to be here this evening to uplift the award. So when you do see them, please, I ask of you, please call them to come into the studio and uplift the award. Lemon has it waiting for them. Mr. Gokul Budu, please come in and uplift your award. Mr. Sam Hines, well, I have Mr. Sam Hines' number. I can call him anytime, or I could drive down to Washington, D.C. and give him his award, and we'll have something to drink and something nice, right? And not Kero, but we'll have a cool cup of coffee or something like that. So call these guys and let them uplift their award right here on 107.1 FM. Thank you so much. So here is another issue that I want to talk about briefly. This is a KFC Diwali. They issued Happy Diwali to our Hindu brothers and sisters. And I see this as being innocuous. Yes, a mistake was made to put, I think what they wanted to do was to put the logo there, KFC. But the person who did it probably doesn't understand the meaning of, or all, in this case, Hindu holidays that without meat in the case of Diwali or even Pakwa and so forth. And this is somebody who doesn't know. So I'm not going to go hard on the individuals. To me, it was a genuine error. And so the folks at KFC, they get a mark, a passing mark for this, right? But let us hope that they are not, or other companies are not going to be so insensitive towards people's religion and people's culture and so forth and so on. So I see this, though, as a genuine error. KFC, again, I don't know who owns the franchise in Guyana, but I saw some folks on Facebook talking about it, and they were really, really upset. And KFC has apologized. However, when Movie Tongue did that stuff, Halloween, because Guyana got Halloween now, right? Guyana is going to have Thanksgiving celebration and all these things, but Guyana had Halloween. They had Halloween celebrations, and Movie Tongue, the folks at Movie Tongue, they had a costume or costumes depicting black folks in as ghosts and all these different things. That to me was super sensitive. It wasn't a mistake. It was no error or nothing of that sort. You just do not. You just do not do something like that. And some folks might ask, well, what's the difference between what Movie Tongue did and what KFC did. I know what KFC did. They didn't mean what they set out to do there with that box of chicken. And it looks kind of delicious. I wish, I can eat 2 pieces right now, because that's all it takes. I guess some people think that that's all we are worth, 2 pieces of chicken. But outside of that, I see that honestly as a genuine error, a genuine error. But let us move back to Movie Tongue. And, it was totally unacceptable what Movie Tongue did. Super, super insensitive. And it borders racism, in fact, because if they had such a costume, knowing that it is Black folks that you're dressing up like this, you don't dress up anyone like that. Be it our indigenous brothers, our Indian brothers, our Portuguese brothers, or Chinese, you don't dress people up like that and depict them in such degrading manner on Halloween, a bunch of Black folks. And then to say that they didn't mean for it to be like that, and I don't accept that. But they have since apologized, and it is good that people brought it to their attention publicly, and they quickly removed it. Let us hope that it never happens again, right? And businesses have to be a little far more sensitive, and anybody who is doing their PR for them should understand people's culture. They need to do that. And I think the Movie Tongue, thank you so much. Somebody just reminded me that it was slaves being hung. Slaves being hung. And they thought that that was funny enough to put it up. Thank you so much, ma'am. They think that it was funny enough to depict slaves being hung on Halloween night, because it just wasn't right. A Movie Tongue should go into places like Albiceton, Kildonan, other places where predominantly Black folks reside, and do something to reach out. Do something. Reach out and do something, because it was wrong. Absolutely wrong. All right, moving on. Let us see here. I see someone is talking about, as I promised you guys, that tonight is y'all night, so to speak. Let me see what this gentleman, Mr. Gordon Dummett Jr., is saying. Hey, Mark, I am not hearing anything about President's College. I'm only hearing a lot about top secondary schools in Guyana. Please share your thoughts. I can bet my last dollar that this guy either attended President's College, right? What will be my thought about President's College? And I don't know. What exactly, Mr. Dummett Jr., you'd like for me to say, other than what we already know, that this current regime doesn't want to promote President's College because of the hatred they have for Forbes Burnham, who had the vision to create these different schools, be it President's College or the multilateral schools and all these things. They want to get rid of those institutions. They want to get rid of those schools. Multilateral in New Amsterdam, top school, multilateral throughout the country, top schools. But when the PPP got into office, they started to weed everything out. They don't want those sort of things anymore. And it so happened that President's College is one of them. President's College is one of those institutions that they want to get rid of. And they are not financing it as much as they should, because you could take a look at the dorm where students have to stay and all of these things. The regime doesn't give a damn about President's College. But then again, someone may ask a question, which might be a legitimate question. How much emphasis the coalition, when they were in office, paid toward President's College as well? But maybe their budget towards those sort of schools increased. So I'll give the coalition government a little edge in doing something, not only for President's College, but for all of the schools. But when you look at the top schools in Guyana, be it Queens, be it Winifred Gaskin Memorial Secondary School on the quarantine, Manchester Village, it's a top school. Trust me, I know what I'm telling you guys. Ask J.R. Crawford and others. It's a top school, right? And Bishops and Multi and Linden and all those other schools, right? The PPP didn't give a damn about those schools or schools in general. All they were concerned about is billions of dollars in contracts to repair this and do that. But if you take a walk, I mean, for a while, I was one of the executive members of the student body at Queen's College. Because, you know, my son attended Queen's College, and I thought I attended Queen's College too, because every day I had to ensure that I picked him up, drop him off, pick him up, and so forth. And so I interacted with a lot of the teachers, the headmistress, and the students. And I can tell you, even on the Priya Manik Chan's first stint as Minister of Education, that school was basically a rundown. And it was the top school, or one of the top schools, right? Rundown. If you take a look in the lab, the computer lab, you take a look in the science labs and all these things, rundown. The debating competition disappeared. All of those things we try to bring back into the schools, not just Queen's College, but bishops and so forth, debating competitions. You hardly hear schools under quarantine or President's College and all these things. So these folks aren't interested in these things, man. Chess competition, you name it. They're not interested in these things. I don't know why they don't take one of you guys and make you maybe John Bourne and put John Bourne as the Minister of Education. Put Pamela Gorick, put Juan Anthony, put Bonita, put all these guys, Zanita Khan. Zanita, how are you doing? Or Mina Grandamana. Put one of those folks as the Minister of Education. You guys will do way better than this person that we have there. All right, so I hope that answers your question, Mr. Dammit Jr., about President's College. So let's move on. What else happening? Let me see here. This guy is still wanted. If you know his whereabouts, contact the nearest police station. Sidney James, he's wanted. He's wanted. Sidney James, he's wanted. All right? Sidney James, he's wanted. If you know his whereabouts, contact me directly or contact the nearest police station. And I have called him. He hasn't responded. I sent him a message to, if he needs a lawyer, maybe we can, through Ben Sharp Foundation, provide him with a lawyer for just the first appearance. Just the first appearance, because we'd like to take him in. And if we can provide him with a lawyer for him to surrender, we'd love to do that. But he's wanted. This guy, Sidney James, is wanted. And we'd love to assist him to surrender. Now, what else is happening? Let's go to this particular story here. This doctor that was found dead in his Kingston clinic, his office. I have been reading a lot of comments on social media, a lot of posts, a lot of speculations and all these different things. But one of the things that I want to do, and I want all of us to do, putting aside the speculations, we're not going to, have that sort of gossip or that sort of talk, because this, as I was told by several senior police officers, that it is highly sensitive. And this alleged confession made by the young man that they caught at the quarantine river there, about to hop in a boat to head to Suriname, this alleged confession, as one senior police officer said to me, that it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I don't know all of the details in the confession, alleged confession. I know of some of the details, right? But people are presumed innocent. In some cases, in some countries, people are guilty first. But I'd like to approach this, that the young man who they caught, he has a story to tell. I don't know what really transpired. I don't think most of you know what transpired, but there are speculations, lots and lots of speculations as to what may have happened. Was it a robbery? Was it another reason why this doctor was killed? I don't know. And I'm going to tell you guys straight up, I don't want to give my mouth liberty at all. I am going to wait, and I'm going to make an assessment based on proper evidence. Proper evidence. That's all I'm saying. Proper evidence. I'm not going to get into allegations of what lifestyle this man may have lived, and it's none of my business about that. The fact of the matter is that he was murdered. Why was he murdered? What's the reason behind the murder? And now there are some other allegations, and the allegations, mind you, that we don't know, that cannot be substantiated at this point, right? And he has a family, and so I want to show some respect to his family as well. But I'm not going to deal with speculations at this point in time at all. And so this guy here, let's go to this guy, this youngster. One time we're hearing that he is 19 years old. The other time that we're hearing he is 25 years old. I will more go with the fact that he looks like more 19, right? But why, based on the police, that he has confessed to the crime? He has confessed to killing the doctor. In his statement, he also alleged that other employees were part of the cleanup effort, the cleanup campaign. I don't know if any of the two other suspects who are or individuals who have been detained first, the employees there, whether they will be charged with accessory to a crime or whatever. I don't know as yet. And again, I don't want to give my mouth liberty. I want us to approach this in a very responsible and cautious manner. Maybe that is why Conrad August is saying that Ben Shap is soft. Well, if that makes me soft, well, I am guilty of being soft, Conrad August, right? And so I am not going to speculate. Now, this young man jumped in a vehicle, allegations that a female relative escorted him all the way to Springlands. He was about to jump in a boat to go backtrack, go straight to Suriname. I don't know if the other wanted, the wanted guy, the senior former GDF officer, who was also, a senior police officer, head of SOCO, Sidney James, is also wanted. I don't know if Sidney James was heading to Suriname and then off to Guyana. I don't know. But this guy didn't make it. The police grabbed him. He had on that his outfit there. I don't know if he's Muslim or whatever. And he had on his mask, but the police grabbed him, arrested him. And according to the police, he confessed to the crime. In his confession statement, he said X, he said Y, he said X, he said Y, he said X, he said Y. According to the police, he confessed. Now, I don't know what was the circumstances, and you guys know that I've attacked confession statements on numerous occasions, right? I don't know under what circumstances this young man made that confession, alleged confession. Now, until he gets to speak to a lawyer, because people are entitled to a lawyer, their rights should be read to them. And once they are aware of their rights, then we know that we're in the path of a successful conviction, right? But in this case, I'm not sure that he had a lawyer. So he may not, I'm not sure at all of a lot of things. That is why I don't want to give my mouth liberty at all at this time, other than let us wait and see. But I hope the police will be doing a thorough and proper investigations where no stone should be left unturned. Absolutely no stone should be left unturned. Now, here are some questions concerning this case, the murder of the doctor. Why was he murdered? Why was he placed in the position that he was? And I've seen photograph, his pants down, what seemed to be money between his legs. What is it? A COVID card, and all these different things. And according to the statement this young man gave, this alleged statement is that they went into some place in the office or not far from the clinic, and they were drinking. And then after they were drinking, then they went into the doctor's office. And then when they were in the doctor's office, the doctor made sexual advance and all these different things. I don't know. That's according to his confession, his alleged confession. And then when the doctor made that approach, or whatever, allegedly, then he just picked up a piece of iron and he lashed the doctor. Look, man, I've studied criminal law. I studied police investigations and so forth. But this puzzle needs to be properly fixed. There are some pieces that are missing from this puzzle. And that is why I'm saying, let us not jump to conclusion. There are some pieces that are missing from this puzzle. Some pieces that are missing. And I don't want some people are saying, oh, of the doctor being whatever sexual oriented, it's irrelevant to me at this point in time. But what I'm saying is that I see some missing pieces of this puzzle. I'm seeing it already. And again, one of the part of the confession statement, this alleged confession statement, is that after they drank maybe a Guinness or whatever, then they went into this clinic, the operating room of the doctor, where the doctor made his move, allegedly, against this guy. And this guy didn't like it, so he pushed or whatever, and then he picked up an iron. So it's so convenient, mind you. It is so convenient that this piece of iron was right there. Because many of you who go to clinics, today I took my younger boy, Jonathan, to the doctor. He had a doctor's appointment. And I was there. And everything is okay with him. Thank you. Those of you who may be concerned. And so when I looked around, well, I didn't specifically look around to see if there's any piece of iron there. But you don't see those sort of things, a piece of iron in a doctor's clinic, in a doctor's office that you could pick up. Now, mind you, I don't know if that's the case in Guyana, whether doctors keep cutlass or crowbars or grass knives or whatever in their office. Have you guys ever seen that? Now, here again, some pieces are missing. Now, I'm not saying that this guy, this suspect, is innocent. I'm not saying that at all. Neither am I not saying then that I don't know what transpired, who made a sexual advance to. I don't know whether that's true or not. All I'm saying is that the confession, this alleged confession, I am seeing some pieces that are missing from that puzzle. And one of the pieces that is missing from this puzzle that I just can't get over at this time is the part where they were in the doctor's clinic, and the doctor allegedly made this advance, sexual in nature, allegedly, mind you, and then there was just this piece of iron bar that he grabbed and he defended himself. He started beating the doctor all across his head, lashed the doctor on his face, and these sort of things. I don't know. I'm not saying this youngster is lying. I don't know. I'm saying it's a puzzle that needs to be fixed. It needs to be properly fixed, and it can only be fixed if it is constructed properly, put together properly. It cannot be fixed on social media. I know people will have their opinions, yes. They will speculate on what may have happened. I've seen some derogatory things about the doctor, whom I don't know. This is the first time that I'm hearing of the doctor when he was murdered. I've never heard about the guy. Never did. I never did. So that's all I wish to say. But this guy is currently being held. He should have a lawyer. And usually in cases when lawyers turn up, what is the first thing you think a lawyer would say to his or her client? Let me see if you guys, and they may have some lawyers watching, but in Guyana, the lawyers think they're too big shot to come and comment on programs and things like that, right? So what do you guys think that the lawyers do when they first meet their client, what do you guys think they do? One of the first things that lawyers do is that they say, shh, zip it, say no more, do not speak to the police. Thank you, Karen Clark. Do not say anything to the police. Stop talking to the police. Because a lawyer-client relationship is confidential. It means that whatever you say to your lawyer cannot go and repeat it. So even if you say to your lawyer that you are guilty of a crime, your lawyer cannot go and tell the police that my client is guilty, convict him, or my client said X, Y, he did or she did X. A lawyer cannot do that at all. They cannot do that at all. All right? Good. However, if someone plans a crime with a lawyer, as in the case with Roger Cannon and Simel, I believe, his lawyer who was convicted and sent to prison, they were allegedly planning another crime, and the lawyer was in with that crime. And so he was caught, he was convicted, he's probably still serving time, right? And so when that young man, that suspect, when his lawyer steps in, watch and see the turnaround of this story, because he may very well say to his lawyer that some of the things that the police are alleging that he confessed, he never did say that. There was a misunderstanding. The story may very well change. That is why I'm saying to you guys, be cautious. Be cautious. I don't want to hear about the sexual orientation, because I've been hearing a lot of things. A crime was committed. The doctor was murdered. Why was he murdered? Let's get the truth. Why was he murdered? Was he murdered because of X, because of Y, because of Z? Why was he murdered? In the meantime, you have a doctor that is dead, and you have a young man that is in the lockup who may very well be charged by Monday with murder. We have all weekend to put the clues together and fix that puzzle, but something definitely isn't adding up for me at this point in time. I'm looking at some of your comment. Thousand Garaway saying a lawyer should not, Mark, but they can. I'm not sure. And then Patricia Madrumotu Look says, Mark, I met that doctor a couple of years ago to do my medical, very professional guy. Well, Patricia, thank you so much. Most doctors should be professional. Barbara Danny Ram is reminding us of breakdown confession. There are different categories of confessions, indeed. Some people just walk in, the investigators put them down quickly before the lawyer gets there and say, police all over, they do that. That's their approach. So tell me what you know. And they're hoping that that is going to stick. They're hoping that that sort of confession is going to stick before the lawyer gets there. But in the court of law, a judge or a magistrate would ask, but they don't ask this in Guyana. But in the US and other places, if someone is not read their Miranda rights, you have the right to remain silent. You have a right to a lawyer. You also have a right for a phone call and all these different things. For those of you who study the case Miranda versus Arizona, I think that is what Miranda versus Arizona. That is where the term Miranda rights, derive from. Now in Guyana, the laws and those who are there as judges and magistrates, they seem less concerned about an individual right. It is in the Constitution. You have the right to remain silent. You have a right to an attorney. Were you afforded an attorney? There are people who are pleaded guilty without an attorney in lots of cases in Guyana. It's what you call a miscarriage of justice. So let us watch what's going to happen with this particular case. A lot of that is why we need lawyers to be talking about people's rights. A lot of times, like for example, police kick down people's doors and they go in and they ransack people's home and they claim that they found marijuana and all these things are contraband items. And when you find out they don't have a warrant, in any other civilized part of the world, those cases would be thrown out, completely thrown out, unless the police, there's something that's called hot pursuit. Meaning if you see Irfan Ali thief some mangoes at Border Market and he runs from Border Market straight into Freedom House and the police are after him, they can go straight where he is. It is called hot pursuit, and that is acceptable in court of law. But if you just go by somebody randomly and you kick down their door and you find contraband or you find even a gun or whatever, in most cases, courts will throw the matter out completely because the person did not go through the right process. They just didn't go through the right process. Maybe we need these sort of laws in Guyana. This brings me to another situation. A 16-year-old boy was shot and killed at Border Market. Now, here it is, I'm not condoning any sort of crime. And I don't believe whether young or even politicians should be stealing. And, you know, a lot of politicians in Guyana, their fingers are sticky, right? They're sticky. They tend to grab wherever they are. They grab, they steal, right? And so, yeah, sorry about that. So back to this, I just noticed, because this is your night, right? I noticed Tauzant Garway saying, Mark, for clarity, lawyers are corrupt. So to say they can't give you up, the fact is they could. By law, they should keep their client business confident, but some don't. I agree with you. Some don't at all. But if a lawyer does that, if a lawyer rats on his or her client, that lawyer can face disciplinary action by the Bar Association, where they can also lose their license. They can do that, right? But in Guyana, there's really no official Bar Association that deals with these disciplinary matters because disciplinary action, because the Guyana Bar Association is just a group of so-called elites, mind you, so-called elites. And they sit there and they do nothing. They get mostly involved in political matters and matters that are irrelevant to them. So they are not there to stand up and make proper representation of the law. They're not going to do that at all. And the Guyana Bar Association is not a constitutional body. So they just don't have the legal rights to be taking disciplinary action against their colleagues and all these things, unlike the U.S. Bar Association or the Bar Association of New York or Connecticut or wherever. These are things that ought to be changed in the country if things are going to get better for all of the citizens. Now let's get back to Shanette, Alicia, maybe you're correct, Myrtle Hines. It's the Rum Bar Association, where most of them drink, sit, drink up, get drunk, and that's about it. The Guyana Rum Bar Association. And now let's get back to the killing of that 16-year-old boy from Agricola. He allegedly snatched a chain, which is wrong. I don't condone those things. And these youngsters, we can't just say these youngsters got to find a job. They're too thieving. We need a government, a proper government. And here is where, again, some of you might disagree, but it's okay that I give the coalition kudos under David Granger. I think they were on to something in terms of reaching out to these young people, offering them some sort of skills in schools that they can go to, return pregnant teenagers who were kicked out of school under the PPP regime for the 23 years. They never reached out to these young people. And so these young people just went helter-skelter, thinking that nobody really cares about them and all these things. So the David Granger administration offered them that opportunity to go back to school, whether you got a child, whether you got pregnant when you were in school, return to school, and all these different things. And those things were destroyed under the PPP. That is why we are where we are. You had a culture that was condoned by the PPP, still condoned by these officials in the PPP, a kind of like this rapper, 49 cents, who sing "Get Rich Quick or Die Trying" or something like that. I know it's 50 cents, right? And that's the culture where young people believe that they got to get rich fast because the politicians got in there, they stole left, right, and center. They became rich. They got their own community, their own gated community, Pradoville 1, Pradoville 2, and all these different things. And they drive around with fancy vehicles, all of these things. So the ghetto youth, so to speak, believe that they have no way out, that they are going to be stricken by poverty for the rest of their lives, right? I'm not saying all of them have that mindset, because a lot of them do not have that mindset. But what about the couple? What about and there are a heck of a lot who think about this get rich quick or die trying, because a system that has failed them, a government that has failed them, a judicial system that has failed them, a penal system that has failed them, that they see no way out, that they believe 10 years from now, they are going to be no good. That is what they think. They are going to be no good. So what the heck? Who care, man? I can go out and I can grab a chain, or I can do this, or I can do that. They go out. And a lot of these kids, they're smart, but they're not that smart enough to think that maybe there's a different way. There is a way out of this thing, right? But even if they stop for a moment to think, is there a way out of poverty? Is there a way that I could get into UG? I can get into Sarah Potter College. I can get into Crystal Labor College and these things. Under the PPP, there's no way. All they have is hustling. They got drug lords going in, giving them a couple of things and say, look, hustle this cocaine or do this or do that. And they have some unscrupulous businessmen who go into these communities and hire these guys as killers, pay them crumbs to go and kill other people. And so because they mindset look at that as some sort of the norm, it is where we are. So back to that young man that got killed at Stabrook Market. Again, I know some people love to misunderstand and misinterpret things. He committed that crime and he was caught. He should face the penalty. He should face the penalty. Punishment indeed. But there ought to be different forms of punishment that would lead towards proper rehabilitation. At Camp Street, at Lusignan, at Timeri, at New Amsterdam prison and so forth, there is no proper reform, prison reform policy or system in place, none whatsoever. So when you send them to jail, they come out back worse. When you kill them, it makes no difference, absolutely no difference. It is not going to stop the other young ones from snatching chains and these. It's not going to stop them. Now, the young man that allegedly stopped that, grabbed that woman's chain or whatever he did, allegedly, and he ran away. He ran away. Whilst running away, there was this off-duty policeman, a sergeant, off-duty. He saw that his wife or whoever was being robbed. And I understand the emotions by people. Yes, I do. So don't get me wrong. He's a trained policeman. Trained policeman. Pulled out his revolver or whatever. They never said that it is his police-issued gun. They never said that it's his own firearm, whether he is allowed to carry a firearm. He has a permit. We don't know. I don't know. But the report never said that. And basically just saw this 16-year-old guy running, pulled out his gun, and shot him whilst he's running. Shot him whilst he's running. And now I know there are some of you out there who would say that it's justified, good, they mustn't thief, they must go and walk, they mustn't thief. Now, I agree with you guys that they shouldn't thief, that they should get a job. Get a job where? It's easier said than done. Again, I'm not justifying these guys robbing anybody at all. I'm not justifying that. But when we live in a cowboy country, as Guyana is currently, under the installed PPP regime, we must be very careful of the things that we condone, the sort of illegality, the sort of cowboy actions that we see. Now, you have an alleged chain snatcher is running away. A law enforcement officer pulls a gun and shoots him dead. Now, the commander of A Division, a good guy, Mr. McBean, very honorable policeman who should have been the commissioner of police or next in line for the commissioner of police job. I don't agree with what he said. Mr. McBean said, Commander McBean said that at this time there is no reason to arrest the police or put the policeman under close arrest who shot the young man, that little boy, 16-year-old, he's a little boy. I disagree with the commander because there is sufficient reason to first take the weapon away from the policeman, find out whether it's a police-issued weapon or whether he has a permit to carry a gun. And these are things that ought to have been investigated that were not investigated, but instead the commander said there is no reason, in other words, no probable cause to arrest or to put under close arrest the sergeant. I disagree with that. He should have been not arrested, he should have been detained and questioned, his firearm taken away from him until further notice. They should have taken a proper statement from him, eyewitnesses and so forth, and that is how this matter should have been investigated. But to say that there is no reason to arrest him now, I totally disagree with that. Now, some of you who are less patient, some of you would say, Ben Shop is saying this because he never get robbed, or well, there's really nothing to rob me. What are they going to do when I walk around Stabrook Market or Border Market? What are they going to do? Grab my tie? Or grab my hair? Or grab my glasses or something like that? I ain't get nothing, right? But on a serious note, you know, of course, my family, we have experienced even worse things than that, right? So there's not this leniency towards guys who go out and do these wrong things. There's not. But I just don't believe in vigilante justice. I see someone mention that there. I just do not believe in vigilante justice. That if you have law enforcement officers who have to do a job, and they can do a job, just do the job properly. If a suspect is running away, do not shoot that suspect. It is a crime. It is a crime. Now, if a suspect engages police officer with gun battle, it is called fair play. If that suspect dies in the process of that gun battle, fair play. Let that suspect go. You wouldn't be hearing from me at all. Let that suspect go if he dies during that gun battle with police. So we need a lot of overhauling of our justice system, the police force, the penal system, lots of overhauling. But what we do now, what they do is they have square pegs in wrong hole where they give their friends and cronies to become consultants, and they get millions of dollars to consult on silly things that they know nothing about, absolutely nothing. Now, I know it's 14 minutes after, it's your night, but I took away your time too, right? Let me see. Let's see. Dovey Smith is saying that they investigated and the firearm is legitimate. Okay, fair enough. I didn't see that in the report. Maybe I missed it, but if what you're saying, Mr. Smith, is accurate, well, fair enough. But I'm saying I didn't see that in the report. Let me check some of your, let's see here. Durant is saying, under this fraudulent, illegal PPP, corrupt criminal dictatorship, holy smoke. Let's start over again. Under this fraudulent, illegal PPP, corrupt criminal dictatorship install regime, the police have become trigger happy. I agree with you. They have become trigger happy. Someone is saying, who is going to pay for that young man's funeral? Look, the young man, they will look at him. He's just a young man from Agricola, and you know the stigma already attached to Agricola, that beautiful village. And legal one lesson, and all these different things you see. But all I'm talking about is not the crime. I'm not condoning the crime. I'm saying that our justice system has to be better. The police have to be better in conducting themselves. And I know that that young man, I am almost certain that that young man could have been apprehended without being shot and killed. He could have been apprehended. He obviously was identified. There was nowhere for him to run and go and hide. They were going to get him. But to take your gun out and pull it, you're a trained officer. Is that a breach of the SOP? That a fleeing bandit, alleged bandit, chain snatcher, run and you shoot him whilst he's running? It is constituted as a crime. It is a crime. Now let's get to these young people who are out there. And if some of them are watching, crime is not the way. It is just not the way. And maybe the time has come for us, all of us, because it takes a village to raise a child. And we're all, well, I'm a parent, and most of you guys, I suppose, are parents as well. And it's time that regardless of if you're in Agricola, if you're in Linden, if you're in Ituni, Kokwani, Bartica, Letem, wherever you are, under quarantine, whether you're in Warlock, in Georgetown, or West Rumbelt, or East, it is time that we start having a conversation. All of us in our village, all of us in our community. Because if one child is affected, we should look at it as the entire village is affected. And if there is a bad apple, we must not be able to turn our eyes and say, well, that's a bad apple, and do nothing. If we can do something to assist, if something was done by some other villager in Agricola to assist this youth, instead of condemning him, oh, he's a thief, man. Oh, your father was a thief, man. Or this body was a thief, man. Or your mother is a, you know what? That's all some people do sometimes. And we need to have a village kind of approach to these situations. We need that. Otherwise, it's not going to get any better. Young people are hurting in that country. Young men are hurting. They're not only turning to crime. Young men are being abused sexually and otherwise, just for a few dollars, by people who are powerful, people who are in positions, and all these things. But the justice system does nothing for our young people. The current installed regime doesn't give a damn about our young people. They believe that throwing up a little basketball court or giving them some crumbs to go and clean gutters is sufficient. That's what they believe, and they make all the promises about free university education and access to X, Y, and Z. They just don't do that. They don't believe in that. It's elections, promises, just promises, trickery. They go into these communities, Agricola and other places, and they want to use and abuse those young people. They go to hand out some cash grant. They commit fraud on those people. They tell them they're going to return, or they don't worth, or they're not qualified for X, Y, and Z. That is what they do. They go into these communities and they destroy the communities. So when a 16-year-old see a 20-year-old driving, or a 19-year-old driving some 212 now, or some brand new vehicle, he ain't got to school, he ain't finished school, but he roll up on the corner with a brand new vehicle, a nice chain around his neck, and he buying Guinness for all the boys, and he get a stock of money. Where you think he got that money from? We've got to change the conversation, and we've got to change the conversation quickly. We've got to do it quickly. 50,000 jobs, Maureen Bristol. 50,000 jobs over 1 year since they've been installed, and not even 5,000 jobs. They're talking about 20 hotels being built. Nobody's talking about schools. Nobody's talking about giving people, young people, access, or showing them a way that they can have a bright future. Nobody's talking about that under this regime. None of them. They're not concerned about these things. But it's time that we take a different approach. Instead of condemning these youths and say, good for them, let it dead out, let it go along, they're too damn thieving, man. Why they can't go and look for a walk? I don't know. I hope that they start looking at this lots of young men are being abused. Underage boys are being abused, and underage girls are being abused sexually also. Nobody seems to care. What do we have? A broken society? Young people are hurting. And when young people are hurting, our country is also hurting, and it will damage our country unless we unless we fix it, unless the politicians are serious about fixing it. That is why it's important to know the people that we elect. We don't want politicians jumping, whether it's in the PNC, the AFC, in the PPP, or whatever. We don't want them coming and talk nice, and dance nice, dance and all these sort of things just to be elected. And then when they're elected, they don't give a darn about the communities. They talk about poor people, they talk about poor communities, they talk about X, Y, and Z, but when, for the most part, they're elected, they don't give a damn about people. Only when they're out of office, they seem so concerned about people. But when they're in office, and this goes across the board, the PPP or whichever other party, they seem to be so caring when they're in the opposition. But as soon as they get into office, it's like they turn a blind eye on the people that matter the most, the ordinary folks who get them into office. They have no respect for the ordinary folks. They have no respect for the ghetto youths or whatever. And when I look for political representation, I look for people who have a track record of standing there with the people. And I hardly see these individuals around. I'll be honest with you. I hardly see them. Somebody's asked what's going on with Mr. Harman. I don't know what's going on, Mr. Harman. They're campaigning. They want to become leader of the opposition. 3 of them. They maybe more. But I want to talk about real issues too. Not every night I'm going to talk about them. They're running around doing what they got to do to be elected. And we are doing what we need to do here too as well. And if some of them ought not to be elected, I guess by now you guys can read and understand when some politicians, or when politicians are lying, or when politicians are weak, or which politicians is strong to do the job, to represent the people, to stand up. This is not just a job to fight Jack Dio or to battle Jack Dio. It is more than that. How do we win back our communities? How do we win back our villages? How do we restore decency and real democracy, not spitefulness, vindictiveness, racism, discrimination, economic genocide, as what we're seeing right now under the PPP regime. And I speak of spitefulness from a personal nature, something I don't deal with, and I don't talk about that because it's your situation that is of utmost important, not just mine. But a spiteful regime who goes around spiting television station and radio station owners, not a single ad. Over 1 year now, because they believe that the taxpayers' money belong to them, the PPP. But when the coalition was in office, the coalition ensured that everybody will accept people who really support them. They ensure that everybody got a big chunk of the pie. Starbuck News, Skycher News, Guyana Times, everybody. But do you think the PPP plays it fair like that? No. Over 1 year now, not one ad we have received on Benchop Radio from the installed regime. Not one. But yet every single month they're giving out hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ads to their friends. It's Friday night. I'd like to make this announcement before I go. Lemon is waiting at the office to be paid. We can't pay you tonight, Lemon, because the regime, the installed regime in Guyana, is spiting radio stations like us. Spiting. And that is where the vindictiveness comes from. So, Lemon, bear your chief this weekend. God bless you all, man. We've got to pray for our country. We've got to pray. This victory is not about jumping on a stage and winding up and going on and singing loud and making a set of noise. It's got to be strategic. And it can only be done with real unity, not superficial unity for a day or two. It's got to be done. I've got to go, man. I've got to go. Have a great rest of the night. I usually end by playing Psycho Andrew's song, but there seems to be some sort of restriction where I can't play it. Unfortunately, I can't play it. So I'll just leave you guys with this one. Have a great weekend. If there's any breaking news story, I will be back live with you guys right here on 107.1 FM. Don't forget to pick up a copy of The Village Voice. Pick up your copy of this newspaper. Support this newspaper. 100%. Go out. If you have $500 and the paper costs, I believe, $140, leave the change with them if you can afford it. It goes a long way for the next printing of The Village Voice. It goes a long way. All right? So go at Andrew's Supermarket and pick up your copy of the paper. All right. Until whenever, be safe. Pray for our country. Pray for our young people. Those who are being sexually abused almost every day. Pray for them too. Lots of those young boys are being sexually abused, and young girls too. The story in Guyana is horrible, and the government nor the court system is there on the side of these young people. They're hurting. That 16-year-old alleged chain snatcher doesn't deserve to die like that. Some of our politicians are stealing hundreds of millions, and they're still alive to steal even more. You have a man who sits there as the president of the country with 19 fraud charges, still couldn't say why Canada has blocked him from entering. Couldn't say why, even though he promised to tell us why. He just couldn't say why. But yet the little 16-year-old boy, thief man must die. But the big thieves in society, they're there ruining the country. The money launderers, the drug lords, quite a lot of those politicians as well. They're allowed to live because they're good thieves. And that 16-year-old is a bad thief. What an unjust society we live in. God bless you all, man. God bless you all.
she put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cockcrow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cockcrow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Cockcrow, dagaba, donkey, bray, horse, and they even duck a quack. Come and hear this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. All day a back down, me now a come home. Inaga, jackass yard for fetchy load. Cockle shy hand, bag over shoulder, running by his side, a Rexy and Rover. From the farm, them a come. Sun a go down but up the river. Some washing clothes, some folks are bathing at the water. Fisherman, they catch them a bring. From a canoe boat, man, them start offloading. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Lokonani. Aymara, Kwakwari, Hail Baka Kuma Kuma, even Bangameri. Listen to this sweet story that tell the people about life in the country. Them children glad when the weekend come. Out in the yard, them all gather round. Some a play catcher, some making house from straw. Two who come later, a grandma or grandpa. All a sit down just a wait. Moonlight so bright, it's just the right time to listen story or to say a little nursery rhyme. Grandpa voice a echo in the night as he tell some picnic a there with fright. Oh Ligan, Mungeza, Massa Kurma Nancy, even Watamuma. Oh Ligan, Moongazer, Massa Kurma Nancy, even Watamuma. Yeah man, that's the true story that tell the people about life in the country, life in the country.